I think I've just witnessed cinematic history, and I'm so here for it.
After cinema, after cinema, after cinema reviews.
What is up, guys? Welcome to Boomer Base, and today I'm here for another After Cinema Reviews, and it's for the most anticipated film of 2024 for me so far, and it's Dune Part 2 by Denis Villeneuve, and holy fuck, this was amazing. So without further ado, let's get cracking. But before we get to the real content, if you end up liking what you see and want to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified anytime I upload. Dune Part 2. Wow, wee wah. What a fucking film. Holy fuck. I am so happy that this lived up to the hype. Like, I've had recently, there was, Across the Spider-Verse, that was one of my most anticipated films. That lived up, did well. Napoleon, I was very excited for, and that was passable. If that, I was disappointed, and that sucked, and I hate being disappointed in the cinema. Next was Godzilla -1, 10 out of 10. Iron Claw, 10 out of 10. Dune Part 2, 10 out of 10. First off, wow, I didn't think I could top the first one. The first one was just an amazing sci-fi epic. It was top to bottom great, or should I say excellent. Now, in this film, Austin Butler, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem, literally couldn't remember his name. Holy heck, they stole the screen. Rebecca Ferguson's role in this film was so much bigger, and she nailed it. Holy heck, this film has to go for some form of Oscars. The music, the cinematography, the score, wow. Austin Butler as Fade Rautha, or Rautha, however I pronounce that. He was such a good villain. Holy heck, I've seen people comparing him to Heath Ledger's Joker, to Javier Bardem's character in No Country for Old Men. And now, maybe that's a bit of a high caliber for him to step on, but he nailed that role. He was scary, psychotic, menacing, and he performed that so well. So absolute props to him. Cannot fault him at all. Timothée Chalamet, or Chalamet, however the fuck I pronounce it, he certainly stepped it up as Paul Atreides in Part 2. He was still enjoyable in Part 1 after he'd taken the holy water, and he allowed his sort of raspy, deeper, shoutier voice to come out. Oh, it was so good, so good. I was so here for it. Florence Pugh's character was, very minimal, but what I didn't realise was there's more Dune films or books after just this, so that's opened up a whole other type of love for this. From watching this, me and my friend who went to go see it, we are going to start reading the Dune books now, and this is what I love with cinema so much, that I can watch something and become so hyper-fixated and passionate about wanting to learn more about the world, reading it, that I'm now going to go down either the book or audiobook route and learn more about it. I've heard that Denis Villeneuve is already working on a Dune Messiah. No idea what that story's all about. Like, I couldn't even remember what was going to happen in this movie, or even if it followed what was in the 1984 Dune. I really couldn't tell you. It was sad to see Rabban, Batista's character, take a very big drop. He went from kind of being menaced and just all gung-ho in action to just straight shit boot kissing pussy. That sucked for his character, and but I mean, you have to have characters like that in stories like this that are so epic. I was so happy to see Josh Brolin again as Gurney. It's not even redemption, but it was just nice to see him again. It felt like the uncle that had lost all his friends, etc., had managed to then rise up again and just been in Baron Vladimir, and it was so good to see, like, the comeuppance and just the sheer happiness I got when Baron Vladimir died and when Rabban died was great. I loved it. Now, this film clocks in at a little bit longer than Part 1. It's nearly about 2 hours 50, so it's nearly like 15 minutes longer. And I went to the Everyman for this one. I wanted to see it in comfort and have a good time, and it was so worth it. I don't know if it was just because of the seats or not, but I didn't feel that length at all. It was so good. And from saying the word length, I've also remembered Oppenheimer. That was another one where I was really excited for, and it did not disappoint. So I'm just glad that the 2010s are still giving just crazy cinema. I'm honestly, I'm nearly speechless. It was such a good film. This to me is almost a new Lord of the Rings. This sci-fi epic will go down in history. I've just witnessed cinematic brilliance on the screen. Now, with Denis Villeneuve as a director, I've not seen everything that he's done. I think I am, out of his mainstream ones, I think I'm just one left now. One or no, two. Haven't seen Enemy and I haven't seen Incendies. As having a quick look, there is some other bits and bobs, but I've seen Prisoners, phenomenal film. Seen Arrival, really good film. Seen Blade Runner 2049, really good film, and then Dune Part 1 and 2, phenomenal. Sicario might be a hot topic. It's one of the, well, it's the lowest on the list. It's the one I like the least. But I think that's because when the film started, I thought I was getting a different film, and it didn't end up being that film. But hey ho. But Denis Villeneuve is slowly becoming one of my favourite directors, and I can see that there's 3 films in development: Rendezvous with Rama, Cleopatra, and then Dune Part 3, which I think is the Dune Messiah. So very, very exciting indeed. Some might call this the Dark Knight and the Empire Strikes Back of our generation. The characters, acting, screenplay, world building, storytelling, score, action sequences, cinematography, and everything in between make for this film as a cinematic masterpiece. Denis Villeneuve provided a masterclass of filmmaking within this film. The casting continuation was perfect all the way through, with great additions, as I've already mentioned. Timothée Chalamet is believable, raw and real as Paul Atreides. He was a flawless lead, and this was his first time returning for a film, and he upped his game, and it was amazing. Austin Butler steals the show as Fade Ralther, and Florence Pugh and Christopher Walken are solid fresh cast members as well. I will say the first half of Dune Part 2 is pretty grounded and calm, delving into the lives of the Fremen. It almost feels like 2 distinct movies, the first half intricately setting the stage for the climactic third act and reinforcing character connections established in Dune 1. Unlike the Part 1's focus on lore, this movie is more devotion-driven, also resembling a political narrative, especially knowing that the hidden puppeteers behind the Empire. The result appears to be an intricate web of schemes involving the Empire, the witch advisor woman whose name the Bene Gesserit lady, and the Baron's family. Despite the Emperor pulling the strings, the Baron's family still felt like the main antagonist to me. Now, the second half of the movie is where we see the epic scale of Dune. The movie's not quick-paced, but you couldn't tell. I was immensely immersed into this film. Dune Part 2 stands steady on its own. It felt complete compared to the more introductory feel of Part 1. Despite this, I still felt like it lays groundwork for Dune Part 3, or otherwise known as Dune Messiah, leaving a sense of setup. The movie, while feeling like a precursor, still manages to provide a more conclusive ending. I also think you should watch Part 1 first, if that has to be said, and the prospect of a back-to-back viewing sounds like a fun afternoon. Now, one thing I noticed throughout the film, and one thing that I don't know if I disliked it, but it's certainly a character development I liked a lot less than I did with the first Dune, and that's Stilgar, played by Javier. What I mean by this is I have mixed feelings. In Part 1, Javier's character was fierce, and one of my favourite characters in the first part, and in this movie he's depicted as pretty much just a religious fanatic for the most part. It was done well, but I miss who he was in Part 1. I don't know if he will change in the coming Part 3 or Messiah, but this felt like a different person compared to what I had in Part 1, and that was something that took away from this film for me. I still liked what I got from him, believe it or not, but it was just, as I mentioned in my Part 1 review yesterday, whilst I enjoyed Timothy as the lead in Part 1, it still felt like he had room to grow, and he certainly shows this in this film. He took He took the lead of this role the same way as his character took the reins of a sandworm, pardon the pun, and it was very, very good. Very, very good. I don't think I can say much more, really. Paul underwent some crazy transformations in this film, from being the son of royalty to experiencing love, and to then becoming and accepting him being the chosen one. As I mentioned, when he takes the water of life and his whole character changes, it's a version of Paul that I wanted. I have no idea where his character will go from here, and I'm hoping it ends up in a resolution that I'm happy with. But as a film overall, I loved it top to bottom. I'm so happy I was here to watch this. If you've watched Dune 2 or Dune Part 2 in the cinema and you enjoyed it, drop a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts. I'm always very happy to hear any thoughts in the comment section below. But without further ado, thank you very much for liking. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and tune in to another After Cinema Reviews. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. Click the button to keep watching, or click the other video for more videos, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.